Let's talk about working with cookies. We're going to set and destroy cookies. So we're going to be setting and deleting them, in other words. So now we just deleted them, 2 files here, working and deleting. We deleted them, and now we're going to come back and only see that we have a couple of cookies here that are now set. These are the cookies that we're going to be setting, and when I refresh it, I just set them again. So instead of reading them, just reading them, I also set them. So destroying the cookies, and then we can go back and see that this is what's set. So this is after we delete. There are still cookies that are in there dealing with the session and other things like that. But if we right click and refresh, this page also sets things. So not only does it read it, but it sets it. If you use this page, you have to right click and refresh or go to another page in order to see the cookies. So that's what we're doing now. So these are the cookies that we're going to be deleting, the ones that are added and a couple of other things in the array. And that's going to be quite clear when we look at the code. So we go back again, and what has disappeared is what was deleted. When we right click and refresh, because again, we're doing both in this page, now we see that we've set them, and this is what they look like up here. All right, so let's take a peek at that. We have the setting of the cookies here. Just keep in mind that the cookies are a part of the HTTP header. This is going to be very important to understand. It works like the header. So if you have header information that needs to be processed, you can't actually have any type of output that goes through. This means that you can't have any details that are output to the browser and then want to set a cookie. You can't do that. You'll get the same warnings. It looks messy. And check out the session videos on dealing with the session, and I explain it in great detail there. You could just get the warning by having even a space there. And there you go. Lots of warnings. Not a good thing. You see this sometimes when you're looking on people's site and it looks rather messy. It happens to a lot of people. It's not something that you can avoid all the time, but it just comes with practice and dedication. All right, so we have a string here, and we're going to set a cookie as well. The string is just telling us that we can actually pass a string here to set cookie, or just do it inline here as a literal. And this is how we set it. There are more complex ways to set it as well. These are just 2 examples. We set a delete me and a site cookie, for example, passing the cookie value. In this one, we're going to have the cookie expire an hour ago, and this is useful actually for being able to delete cookies as well. When cookies are expired, they actually are going to be deleted. You can use additional parameters. It gets a little bit more complicated when you're adding domains and things like that. It's up to you how you want to do that. So here is an example of an expiring cookie, because you put the minus 3600, and here we have a plus 3600. So this is going to expire in an hour based on the time. 3600 is 1 hour in seconds. And then this is something that expired an hour ago. So this is going to delete itself. Or if it was in the cookies already, it would be deleted. That's how you do that. And you can also set them as arrays as well. Different ways to do that. But you want to look at the documentation, because things get a little bit tricky when you're dealing with cookies and how they're set and things like that. Now we can also check to see if they were set. If we have an is set here, then we're going to echo that cookie out. We're going to display the cookie just as we've always done. But isSet works with cookies like it does with session and other things like that. We can also print out this array because it's a cookie array. It's a global array. And we can do a for each on the cookies as well to see what is set there. So knowing all of that, we can refresh this page. Knowing all of that, we can see now that this is just an array of cookies. We've seen this in the arrays section. Check the arrays section out for more details. These are set. And then this is an array of cookies that we output there that you can see. If we slide up, and that's a for each using the AR cookie, and it's pulling this array back because the cookie is an array, but the cookie array itself is an array. So it's an array within an array. But AR cookie, as we set it there, we set it like an array using the array syntax with elements. So we set the first, second, and third elements there, and that's going to be set as separate cookies like you would in an array. So that can be very useful to set cookies like that. As long as we're not using this to set cookies to get on people's nerves, I guess it's all okay. And that's not what we're doing here, so everything should be fine. But then deleting cookies, we don't have to refresh that again, but we will delete them. And now you can see something's happening there. We'll take a peek at the delete to see what we did. We do a for each, and we set the cookie back to some date that has happened already, maybe better days in 1990, and I was still in college, so this definitely would be a very, very, very attractive date for me. So set cookie way back then, and you know that this is definitely not going to be set anymore. So this is the best way to remove it, this particular format. Try that. You can also just unset that by the cookie name. That's another way. And then we can also just do it this way, where cookie is equal to an empty array. You do all three if you want to. Not a big deal. Always be sure. And then you can check to see if things are set. Are there any cookies set? Go through it and see what's set. And you can see that we don't have anything there visible. Checked with cookie, for example. That's checking for that cookie, that word cookie. And if we didn't use that cookie name, then we would try something like site cookie or site cookie 2. For example, you have to put something in here that you want to look for to see if it's set. And we have nothing that's going to be output there. And for the most part, this is a generic way to actually check out the cookies to see what is going to be set, and also just a bunch of different ways that you could try to delete cookies, as you can see. And again, if you reset everything, you see that the array is not having certain cookies in there. You have to refresh to get them back. And these are the cookies that we're going to be adding and deleting. Again, when you set it, you have to redirect by refreshing, and then you can see what was set. And that's explained up here at the top. And in the documentation on cookies, you can see that right here on this sentence.